Hey guys, it's Hubbard. Here's my recap of our second full week. Of course, we did a half week to begin with in CDL school. So we started on a Wednesday. So this is really, I guess we can say it's our third week. It's only our second full week. So, wow, what a week. Finally, we got out on the road this week, so we've been driving. Of course, you remember from my previous video, we drove on the range some last week, starting on Wednesday, where we were practicing shifting gears and just maneuvering the trucks around the range. This week, we got out on the road, the real road, with the real tractor and trailer. 48-foot trailers, empty up until today, but full sleepers, full tractor trailer out on the road, and it's been a wonderful week. A lot of fun, a lot of learning, a lot of put it this way, and I'll get to this in a little bit, but I'll go ahead and tell you this. Today I was humbled. We'll put it. We'll just say that for now, and you'll understand why in a minute. Hard to do a weekly recap. Learning to do these videos, I'm debating between doing a daily video versus a weekly recap. And if you follow Jerry Ott, Big Rig. I can't think today. It's Friday, I'm sorry. You know who I'm talking about. If you've been following truckers, you know who I'm talking about when I talk about Jerry. He's just switched and started doing daily updates instead of a weekly update. I'll probably end up changing to that, but I'm playing back and forth myself. It's just hard to I'm not sitting here running on a script, so it's hard for me to remember and follow. Make sure I recall and give everything to you in a concise way. But we started driving this week on the road. So we get out on the road, and I felt pretty comfortable shifting and changing gears and managing the space around me, as I've said before. And all that's good to go. So, we get out on the road, and first day, Wednesday, was quite easy, not hard. Managing it quite well. We're not in any tough scenarios. Yesterday we drove from the county we were in back to my county where I live. So it's a 2-lane road, but it's a wide road, not hard. And, so it was just, I'm sitting there chatting with the instructor as we're driving, and, it's not that difficult. A couple times just because I wanted to, not because I had to, I, slowed down and changed gears, downshifted. So we did that. But no big deal. There was nobody behind me. It wasn't in a bad scenario where I had to hit the gear. And if I missed it, it wasn't that big a deal. I thought about it and up the RPMs and did what I had to, trying to learn the process. So not a big deal. Well, today it was quite different. Today we got our first loaded truck. And so this afternoon, it was my turn to go out on the road, and the truck I got put into was the loaded truck. So, for those of you who don't know, I live in the foothills of North Carolina. So, we get in the truck, and every day so far, everybody's gone, I'm not driving first, I'm not driving first. So, I just by nature, I jump in and, I go first, and I don't care one way or the other. I just soon get it over with and be the guinea pig and let everybody learn from my mistakes. That's okay. So we get in the truck and we're heading from Lenore, North Carolina to Boone, North Carolina. If you want to look it up on your online maps or whatever, Google Maps or whatever. It's from Lenore, North Carolina to Boone, North Carolina on Highway 321. Well, 321, first of all, here's the different things that I had to deal with today. And this humbled me because I was not getting cocky, but I was getting curiously questioning how difficult this really was. And I'm being honest here, so y'all are seeing my naivety, me being naive. Sorry. First, I had a load. That's a first. So we go out with the load. It just so happens I go from every day being in a 10-speed to going into a 9-speed, so my gear, where I'm gearing and changing gears is different. So we head up 321, going through Lenore, no problem. You know, it's, you know, modest town, going through the traffic. And we start heading up 321, up the mountain. So our instructor Gary, who I have the utmost respect for and appreciate him doing this to me today. I did not take this negative. This was a great day, even though it was my hardest day and it humbled me. So we start heading up the mountain. Well, it's 3 lanes. So going up the mountain, we got passing lanes. So, you know, I'm in the right-hand lane, and we're heading up the mountain with a load. Wow, real trucking. So I start up, and he's saying, here's where you have to make a decision. And he gives me my snare. I go, okay, what do I do? He goes, that's up to you. You're driving. So he leaves it up to me. Good for him. I'll ramble about this all night and won't be a video, so I'll have to cut it down. So, long story short, I ended up going up the mountain, getting going and losing speed, and having to downshift while going up the mountain with a load. Up until now, I've downshifted, but it's not been on a hill, and it's not been with a load. It's not been in a scenario where speed was essential and hitting my gear was essential, or else. Well, today it was essential, and if I missed it, which I did, we stopped dead. Because by the time I got, even if I hit my gear, I made the downshift slow enough that by the time I got into my gear, even without missing it, I'd already dropped RPM so low that I needed to drop to the next gear. So it was a chain reaction, which really just drove home. Pulling a load, going uphill, and you pass these trucks who were creeping and crawling, and I'm guilty of this, going, oh gosh, they're in the way. How wrong of me and other four-wheelers. So I'm going up the mountain, and he's letting me make these decisions as we go. And often I'm making the wrong decision. But we end up creeping and crawling up this mountain, and I had to come to a dead stop several times just to get back into low gear, just to get started over, and just to get into second or maybe third gear. Wow, that humbled me. But that wasn't the end of it. No. Because the wide highway going up the mountain quickly becomes a 2-lane highway road going up the mountain, which is very curvy. And to boot, they're doing construction up there, so you got barrels and shoulders that are cut off and dropping off, 200-300 feet, I guess, maybe more, with no shoulder, and very tight turns, and a lot of traffic coming through this area. So now I go from, okay, how do I keep my RPMs up, and how do I keep momentum going up the mountain, to how do I stay in my lane, how do I not hit other cars, how do I not fall off the side of this mountain, those issues. So now my stress level goes up even more, and it's about taking a left-hand sharp turn and not just keeping me in my lane, but keeping the cargo and the trailer that I'm pulling in my lane. And of course, Gary, the instructor, you need to be further to the right. Well, I'm sitting there thinking I'm as far right as I'm going, because I feel like I'm on the edge of the road, and yet my trailer is crossing the yellow line, which was, okay, what's the deal here? And Gary goes, look at your fender mirror on the right side. That's going to tell you where you are on this right side. So instead of me looking over the hood thinking I'm on the edge, I look in that mirror and realize I've got a good 2 feet left before I'm over that white line on the right side. So now I'm like, okay, well now I'm moving over and staying real tight on that right side on the white line around left-hand turn, and then I glance over in my left mirror and make sure my trailer's in position, not crossing the yellow line, and I started to get that a little bit better. Although I was so tense, I was afraid to take my eyes off of what's in front of me, because one glance and a slight turn of the wheel and all of a sudden your tractor's in the other lane. So then we get through that and get down into Blowing Rock and Boone, and he takes us, he's trying to find a place to switch drivers because we got 3 students to take turns, and all of his places because that he's used to pulling off and switching are gone because of all the construction that's going on up there. So we end up, now I'm in Boone, which isn't a big city, but it's very congested because it's a college town where ASU, Appalachian State, is. And he takes me back in this area, which I've been before in a car, and I know going in it's tight. And so, go up here to the next light and take a left. So I pull up to take a left, and this is my first time in that tight scenario. So I pull up in the intersection, try to go wide, and so my trailer doesn't hit the car that's in the intersection, of course, and I go too wide and end up riding up on the sidewalk. So again, minute after minute, situation after situation, I'm being humbled. So we finally get back on 321, and he goes, there's a Hess station up here, pull in here, I know we can turn around in here. So that's what we do. We get out of the truck, and of course the trailer has, Caldwell Community College truck driving school and student driver all over it, so it's plastered billboard, and we get out, and Gary comes around the truck, and I put my arms on his shoulders and I lean over him. I go, that's exhausting. And a lady pulls up in a van, rolls down her window and goes, good job. Obviously she sees that I'm a student. She sees me grab him going, thank you, I made it through that. And she wanted to express, what she did, which I don't know the lady, didn't get her name or anything, but just so grateful, because that made me feel good. good job. And he goes, yeah, I just made him drive up 321 through Blowing Rock. You know, she goes, well, that's hard in a car. You know, keep up the good work. You did a great job. You know, be safe going back down. So that made me feel good. That was nice. So, you know, we all caught our breath. Everybody was scared that I was going to run us off the mountain. And so then we switched drivers and came back down. So I won't get into all that. But today humbled me. Up until now, everything I'd done wasn't very difficult. And being naive, I guess, to some extent was getting a little bit too, not cocky, but feeling as though, is this it? I mean, is this, I can change these gears. And if you miss the gear, it's not a big deal. You just find it and, you know, make a correction, and I'll get better at it. So I wasn't too stressed over it. And I'm sure, I know there are far worse situations, tougher situations, I should say, not worse, but tougher driving situations than what I was in today. But this is the toughest I've seen yet. And it was enough to make me go, you know, take a step back. Keep it in perspective of where you are and what they're teaching you, and that what you've seen isn't all there is to see. And really humbled me. I keep saying that, but that's the only way I know how to say it. When I got out of the truck, Gary goes, you hate me now. The instructor, Gary, goes, you hate me now, don't you? And I said, no, I appreciate you. I said, this is what I needed in the worst way. And of course, my personality, I'm competitive. I don't like not being able to do something or not doing it to the standard that I want to do it. So now it's Friday. We've got tomorrow and Sunday off. I told him, I said, I don't want to take a truck out again that's not loaded, because I want to practice being in a loaded trailer. I also want to go back and make that same run over and over and over again, because there's nowhere around us that I know of, and I may be naive again, there's nowhere that I can think of where you're dealing with uphill, downhill, managing that process combined with an area that is as tight, curvy mountain road, although you're not going fast, tight, curvy mountain roads where you're having to maintain your tractor and trailer in your lane, and then a congested area with very sharp, small turns, as in Boone, around us where we can train. What I told Gary I'd love to do is to get in the truck with him driving, and see him take that same route. I say route. The rest of you guys around the country may say route, but we're rednecks. It's okay. You know what I mean. Route. Take the same path that I took today and just sit and absorb what he does as an experienced driver, and how does he manage that hill and maintain, what gear is he in, and what RPMs is he maintaining going up so that he doesn't just bog down and have to shift down going up the hill, those things. How does he maneuver in that same tight area that I had to? I'd love to do that. I probably won't get to do that because, of course, we don't spend time with the instructors driving, because we have to drive. But anyway, I'd love to do that. So this week was much more exciting, getting on the road. We set up, go back to the range. The way we had our range set up, we were bottlenecking at the point where we had the 45 degree angle back up, because it was where everybody was running around. So the lap traffic going around the range would bottleneck while somebody was doing the 45 backup. And then the next one to pull up. And so you spent what little time you got, you spent sitting there waiting. So I suggested to our instructor, I said, you know, we don't need to practice this shifting gears from second to third on this small range and maneuvering the trucks and the trailers on this range. We need to practice, while we're on the range, we need to be practicing our backing. I said, the range is big enough. Could we set up a 45 on the opposite end of the range? So we had two 45s. And then we've got our straight line back. We only got 4 trucks running on the range at a time. I said, what this is going to do is it's going to separate us enough so that you're never sitting still for very long. So if you're down at the first 45 and you do your backup and you get it in or not, and then you pull out and you go up to the straight line, well, by the time you get to the straight line, the next person's going to be through or almost through. So you can do that, and then when you get done with the straight line, you go up to the second 45, and you may have a trailer, you know, somebody in front of you doing that, but you're not going to have 2. So we ended up the past 2 days doing that, the past 2 days doing that. And I went from a 30-minute session on the range before, on a 30-minute session on the range, I might get 4 45 backups and 1 straight line, maybe 2. Now I'm getting 10 plus 45 backups and 5 straight lines. You can get a lot more straight lines if you want them, but everybody's going for the 45s right now. So, and there's no sitting. We take half the class out on the road now, which frees it up too, but the flow is so much better. So we're getting much more activity on the range, much more practice on the range, and now we're starting to pull loaded loads, loaded trailers when we're out on the road. Today was the first day. So all in all, a great week. I'm exhausted, and we're going to a truck show. Never been to a truck show. That's going to be cool to see these big souped up hot rod trucks. Real cool. So we're going to go see a truck show tomorrow on Saturday, and then we'll be back at it hard and heavy on Monday. So looking forward to next week, getting back on the road with loads and getting better at the downshifting and managing the truck. And thank you, Gary, for humbling me. It was needed. So anyway, that's it. I've talked too long. I've rambled tonight, but it seems like I had a lot that was on my mind and that we went through. And I'm not very good at just writing things down and following some outline to talk to you guys. So anyway, y'all have a great weekend. Be safe, and we will probably not put anything else up until next weekend unless I change my mind, which you can ask my wife. I'm known to do. So anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. Be safe, and we'll talk to you next week. All right, later.